Um, Hi, can you hear me? I hope all of you are here, all the winners are here. This is just a small interaction because you don't get to speak at the time of receiving your award because it will go on for 24 hours if we do that. So we give you, we would like to know about your work, what you feel about the award, why did you write the story. If the story has any impact, then share with us and share with all the others so that you become a community. You know what she has written, what he has written, and what are the different topics that are written about. And so you know face to face your fellow winners so that you form a good community and you keep in touch with each other and then grow together. Okay, that is the whole idea of this interaction. So thank you so much, all of you, and congratulations to each one of you because it.
Yeah, you can use this, Dr. Sharda.
Hello? Did you get to hear what I said till now? Last line. Why don't you come? There are so many seats here. Come here. Why do you want to always sit in the back? Come in the front. Claim your place. Now come. Really, it's very strange, you know. I observe this when you give an opportunity, also people don't take the opportunity. When you say come and sit in the front, you say no, I'm happy in the back. So, particularly for girls, I would say that. It's not correct. We rarely do get an opportunity to sit in the front when somebody is offering it to you and you say, no, no, I don't want to sit. Good, happy. Yeah, these four seats are also empty. Please come in the front. Come. So I'll be calling out each one of you, and you can just take 2 minutes to talk about your work, talk about why you have written the story, whatever, you know, how you feel receiving the award, because there are some people who have received it a second time. Maitri, you're receiving it for the second time? First time. So there are some people who are receiving it. Why is the volume? So there are some people who are receiving it a second time. So please talk about your experience, okay? I don't like this. Come and sit in the front. Maximum use of space, efficient use of space. Not only in the here, but in your newspaper, in your writing, in your thinking. How do you accommodate different things? Huh? अच्छा sir. ठीक है. There is no hierarchy here that first seat is only for the VIPs because today you are the VIPs for us. So please come forward, claim your place, claim your time, claim your glory. Okay? So since I know Anuradha and she's been an old friend and I'm glad that she got the I'm going to big. What did I say? Take the opportunity. So you take the opportunity to set the tone, okay?
And Anuradha has also been a Lagni fellow. Hi.
Come here so that people don't.
Hello, everyone. First of all, organizers, thank you so much for this. Thank you so much for this opportunity, for this award. I am really overwhelmed. And it's credit to you people because you all have encouraged so many people to come out with the best stories ever. And I see these youngsters, all of their stories are amazing. So a little bit about myself. I am Anuradha Mascarenas. I am the senior editor with the Indian Express. I write on health, science, women's issues, etc., etc., etc. And because I hope you all don't mind, but I'm just going to promote my debut book also. So if you all do get a chance, please read that. It's at the Wheel of Research. It's a biography of Dr. Soumya Swaminathan. So about my story, which was selected, is that... can you all hear me? Yeah. So I won't take too much of your time, but I still remember the time when my mother was praying because one daughter was born, the second daughter was born, the third daughter was born, and she was just praying that she gets a son. And I was witness to that. And of course, my family, I come from a joint family, and they're beautiful people. But I just said, what? Why are you praying for a boy? Am I not enough for you? Maybe these things over the years, they stay with you, and probably they shape your writing or the field that whatever you've taken has chosen. So I kind of decided to focus a little bit of my writings on gender issues. And of course, Sharda ma'am and of course Anuja ma'am have been hugely supporting my endeavor. And just to cut the story short, this story was about the Bhatnagar Awards. There are some 598 awards that have been given over the last so many years, and only 20 women have got it. They are the top women scientists. So somewhere along the lines, we just felt that why women scientists are doing such a lot of work have not got these awards. And so we took a deeper dive, spoke to a lot of scientists, a lot of people. And here I must, of course, also thank the Indian Express team for giving me this platform. Because without their support, this kind of thing is not really encouraged. And they gave me a whole page, and there was a lot of back and forth. So I think I've taken enough of your time.
Thank you. That was
and
a good
once
beginning.
again, congratulations to all of you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Anuradha. Kinshuk is there? Gupta. When I saw Kinshuk's story, and it was something very different from the regular run-of-the-mill stories, and I was quite impressed. So that's why I would like you to talk.
Thank you so much. We started with a veteran journalist. I am not a journalist at all. I mean, in typical sense, I am a doctor who writes sometimes, and I mostly write in Hindi. But I do sometimes journalistic pieces in English. So Caravan, Surbhi is here. We published a piece about body image issues in LGBTQ males. And we wanted to actually really understand how not only sexual orientation, but your caste and where you belong from contributes to the body image issues that you feel. So yeah, that's pretty much about the story. Thank you so much for...
What was the reaction from the LGBTQ community and even otherwise?
The reaction was, of course, astounding. It always happens, when somebody comes out with a story like this. There's always a lot of applause from the community and from a lot of other people, but then there's also hate, which is a part of it. So I'm pretty much accustomed to it, so you can't do much about that. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. May I now call Ankita Apurva? I don't want to call it. Nitin Sharma?
Is Nitin Sharma there?
This is also an interesting story about a girl without arms, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. From Kashmir. Yeah, please.
yeah. I'm Nitin. I cover sports and I work with the Indian Express. I'm based in Chandigarh. And this story is about Sheetal Devi, who has been in the news a couple of days ago. But we did the story last year, when she won the Asian Games medal. When she won the Asian Games medal in Hangzhou. So she belongs to a remote village in Kishtwar, Loidar. Actually, I came from Kishtwar yesterday only. I spent 5 days there with the family. And one question which I asked the girl's father was like she was born without limbs. So I asked her, like, in normal villages, Jammu or Haryana, Punjab, there is a thought that, people sometimes give such kids to an orphan or some school. And his father said, like, we didn't even think it for a moment. So, such kind of parents we need in this society in India, and we try to bring those stories. So that was the story which was selected for the award. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Uh, Ashay, his story is about a bisexual
Yes.
and his experiences.
या सो आई टॉक इन हिंदी मैं महाराष्ट्र से हूँ और बीबीसी मराठी के लिए काम करता हूँ व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट जेंडर एंड स्टेरियोटाइप्स रिलेटेड टू इट बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि हम शहरों की बात करते हैं थ्रू दिस स्टोरी आई ट्राइड टू रीच आउट टू रूरल एरियाज ऑफ महाराष्ट्र और वहाँ से एक केस स्टडी मुझे मिली जो कि एक 27 ईयर्स का विराज करके एक बंदा था एंड ही वॉज ऑफ माई एज and he shared his experience with BBC Marathi and that story really worked very well with us but on social media it also received the hate in terms of many ugly comments and all but still his father called me he is a farmer and he said that you made me understand my son better so I think that was the success to my story and thank you for giving me this award this is my first time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I have taken myself for granted that everybody knows me in the world. I know that you don't know me. I'm Sharda. I was founder director and I recently moved on to become the trustee of the organization. And I have with me Anuja. She is UNFPA consultant, program development. And Sunita Rao, you don't need any what program?
Sunita Rao, we don't need an introduction.
No.
I work with the United Nations Population Fund and part of the Gender and Human Rights team.
Okay. Okay. Then we have Sunita Rao. You all know Pari girl. So Pari Humayun. And then we have Dolly Thakur. Of course, she also needs no introduction. She's a very, very well-known person. Okay. And Yogesh is our director. I'm sure you have been interacting with him. So now may I call Apurva Mandhani? Is she there? Come. So this is, one of the most frustrating things is when godmen are involved in rape cases and then they go scot-free. And she has written about one such case. Investigative report.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much for this award. Firstly, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. My name is Apurva Mandhani. I work with The Print and I've been covering law and courts for them for a while now. I'm a law graduate myself, so I've chosen to get into legal journalism and bring out such stories. And this was one such story actually. I tend to cover a lot of court hearings. And I came across one such hearing regarding this godman, Virendra Dev Dikshit, who runs several ashrams in Delhi. And I realized that there's a lot more happening than just court hearings here because this was an ashram that was raided back in 2017, December 2017, on court orders, in fact. And after this ashram was raided, this godman has been absconding. He hasn't been found. The case has been handed over to the CBI, and even then the CBI is being halted every time by the High Court. The CBI is claiming that it's not being able to find this godman, but he's constantly, I found out, in touch with his followers through YouTube channel. He sends them videos. They have, even in the ashram, they have these big TVs, still preaching to them. His ashrams are still up and running. Lots of authorities in Delhi. In fact, there are, I think, as far as I remember, around 7 such ashrams in Delhi, and they're still up and running. The municipal corporation has tried to take them down. The CBI, there was this committee headed by Kiran Bedi that tried to take these ashrams down, but everything's just going as it was before the ashram was dated, and that's what my story sort of tried to showcase. It told the stories of these women who were found in these ashrams, not in very good conditions. It told the story of this long court struggle, about how it has been extremely difficult as per the CBI to catch this godman, and how he still continues to influence his followers and still has his ashrams up and running.
Has there been any response from the government for the articles or from the judiciary?
So within the court, there has been a lot of hauling up for the CBI since then, asking them similar questions that at least I tried to raise in my article, that if, he can come on YouTube, why hasn't he been found yet? If there are cassettes of his speeches still found in these ashrams, and these are fresh speeches, where are they coming from? So similar questions like that have been raised, but yeah, that's the extent of it so far.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations once again.
Rajesh Khandelwal. Rajesh Khandelwal. Maitri, would you like to talk?
Hi, Maitri.
Very good evening to everyone present here. And so I have been a journalist since the past 15 years, but on a lot of pushing by Sharda, I applied for Ladli for the first time. Very happy to be here amongst everyone who promotes reporting and sort of honoring people who write on gender sensitivity. My story was about mental health of women, and the reason for me attempting this was the COVID pandemic had hit, and I think everyone's mental health was going down the drain. So there was an increased trend in people seeking psychotherapy. Now, when you talk about seeking psychotherapy, going and meeting a therapist, at least in the urban milieu, it was acceptable to do so. Trend is changing. So I started wondering, what do people do in villages? If a woman is, having blues, for instance, or has delivered a baby, and, she's going crazy in the house, how does she deal with it? Where would she go and seek a psychotherapist or a psychiatrist or a psychologist for that matter? So I tried to explore this in a public health scenario in districts of Narmadapuram, Vidisha and Raisen in Madhya Pradesh. And I went on a trail along with health workers there, ASHA workers so to say, who were implementing pilot projects in order to diagnose women for two conditions. One, depression, and second is schizophrenia. And it took me a lot of convincing. This story had to be handled very sensitively because I was actually asking for sitting with women who had been diagnosed of these sensitive conditions. Would they talk to me? Would they talk to the ASHA worker? How would the families react to this? And I ended up chronicling stories of women who allowed themselves to be photographed again sensitively, and they trusted me with their stories. And primarily this was also a story of ASHA workers. There were also some men I found who were suffering from mental health. I also made a video story out of it. So I would urge you to message me, and would love for you to see the video if you are like too tired to read the entire article though. But yes, I mean, just overall, the awareness for mental health is as important, and the access for that is as important for people in villages. 80% of India resides in their villages, right? As it is for the urban centers. That was what I was trying to explore through my story. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Maitri. Maitri.
So the interesting thing about this is, you know how a district is designed, right? A district is huge. Like, I mean, when I went to some districts, I was like, how do you travel 30 to 40 kilometers when you don't have a car, you don't have, you have public transport, right? So if say for instance, my imaginary husband is schizophrenic and he's scratching the hands of his daughters who are trying to handle him. I mean, this was a case I found. Then where am I going to take him first, right? Can you guess, where that person would be taken in Madhya Pradesh, where again, I think Apurva's story rings a bell with me? To a local healer. So I actually ended up going and videographing how local healers in areas like that work. And I saw little girls, and I could clearly see that somebody has a club foot, like the prognosis, like, a lay person would say that, or maybe somebody has a spina bifida, like something's just orthopedically wrong with this person, but is being taken to a local healer, or has a psychological distress and is being taken there. So the first point of contact is the local healer, and surprisingly in that district, there was a neuro rehabilitation center which was being built. It was in works. But the thing is, building it is one thing, but getting them to access it, and then even if in our family...
Her question is very different. Anyway, it's okay. Thanks.
No, the access is essentially, there are people accessing it, they go to the local healers mostly.
So they're not accessing it.
Yeah.
To the extent
they don't access it to the extent
that
they'd
we would
Yeah,
like
sure.
them to. Yeah. Thank you.
CHCs, community health centers, rural hospitals, do have a lot of counselors. Counselors under various programs, whether it's the Rashtriya Kishore Swasthya Karyakram, the adolescent health program, or family planning, or gender-based violence counselors. So there are trained counselors available across our health system, and there is need to create awareness about the availability of psychosocial support services. So, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
May I now call Pamula Vijay Krishna? Is he there? No? There's an interesting story about women and why they don't get into employment. Anisha Mendes. This is on page 3. Dolly and Sunita.
My name is Anisha. I am from Kerala. I am working with Keralium Web. It's an independent magazine. My story is Kerala Knowledge Economy Mission. It's an initiative to help job seekers in Kerala. As you all know, compared to other states, Kerala is highly educated states. Kerala Knowledge Economy Mission survey reveals that 57% of women are unemployed because they want to look their family. Actually, it was shocking because compared to men in Kerala, women are highly educated, but they can't go to work because they want to look their family, or after the marriage, or after kids, or if their home, any elder people have in their home. Also, this responsibility also falls for there. Okay. So, Kerala Knowledge Economy Mission reveals this survey. When I read newspaper, say one piece column news. So first I read this news, I get shocked. Then I started contact this Kerala Knowledge Economy Mission people. They said they conducted this survey because they studied, actually they took an initiative called Thodilarangathekku. That means they are helping job seekers in Kerala. That time, all the people who registered in that initiative is women from Kerala. Majority are women. So they try to find the reason. And that curiosity find that all these registered women are left their job because after marriage, or they want to look their children, or they want to look their elder people in that in the home. So they conducted this survey and find the result. Actually, I contacted this Kerala Knowledge Economy Mission, but they said they can't reveal the identity of these surveyed people. But after I said all these things, they give some of the contacts. I contacted them, but most of the people, most of the women want to communicate with me because most of the cases, their husband don't allow to go for job. They said them to do household activities. I think still Kerala is educated, highly educated, but the patriarchal mindset is still there. And the men think they are the breadwinner. Women are looking their kids
Yep.
or
Yeah, can you? Thank you so much. And this is a very interesting point because, we keep saying women are not interested in working or women are not, they don't want to work or their numbers are decreasing. And we should understand why they are not able to take up the jobs and the unfair burden of household work on them. We should realize, and then we should change the gender equations in the family and the gender responsibilities in the family so that more women can go out, and we need more such articles so that people start thinking about it.
Also, one second, there was also this, हिंदी में बोलते हैं चिराग तले अंधेरा. बहुत बार बोला जाता है केरला बहुत आगे है, लेकिन अभी हेमा कमेटी का रिपोर्ट निकला है और फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में जो बातें आ गई, तो what Anisha said is right. Patriarchy is alive and kicking there too, and we need to really have a long way to go.
Yep. Neha.
That this is in spite of the fact that the self-help group movement or the Kudumbashree movement in Kerala is really, one of the best. And there are women who have access to gainful employment. In spite of this, patriarchy is very, very deep-rooted.
1 minute. Huh? You want to talk about your work? Yes, about Introduce yourself, please.
Thank you for congratulations to everyone. I actually wanted to do a little bridge building. So I'm a sex and trauma therapist, and I run clinics both in India and the US. And we have a lot of research. Neha Bhatt. My name is Neha Bhatt. I have collaborated with Tejaswini, who's here as well, and we worked with the Sassy Thing for the sexual trauma masterclass. That is on, yeah. So just.
About to call you and you came.
Oh, psychic. Tej, are you here? I'm not sure. Hi, please come. Sometimes those synchronicities just happen. I just wanted to bridge build actually about this because we speak, the psychiatrists are only talking to psychiatrists, psychotherapists are only talking to psychotherapists, filmmakers and artists and theater people are only talking to each other, and then rape happens and then we kind of get very, activated. So I wanted to offer a tool which is more healing oriented, so it's more for activists, for social workers, for people like yourself, how to heal from sexual trauma, which is what the 2-hour masterclass is for, and that was actually Tej's idea. So we did that to build bridges between community. Just wanted to say that.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think I have anything to add. You covered all the bases.
Thank you.
This, I mean, what made you?
Okay. So I was working with that Sassy Thing, which is a sexual wellness brand. And I felt that we used to get a lot of DMs and a lot of customers being curious about the products. Am I audible? All right.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so it's a sexual wellness brand, and it's run by a couple at the moment. And basically, the idea was that they were creating a lot of stimulation and also lubricants and
a lot of these products related to sexual wellness and hygiene. So what? And I was working with them as a consultant. I'm a journalist and a communications consultant and a sex educator myself. So what happened was a lot of people were curious, but they weren't sure because we don't really have these conversations in society about sexual wellness, sexual hygiene. We don't really know what the parameter standards are. So although they were curious about the products, they were like, why should we care about this? Why is this actually our well-being? And that's when we realized a lot of sex education needed to happen, and the brand was supportive in my, my idea that we need to build a bundle of resources, including the master classes, and we made 5 of them, and this was the 5th one. We made it last year, and this was about sexual healing and sexual trauma healing. But before that, we created master classes about how to really explore gender identity and your sexuality, because we don't really have that avenue or space created for us. There was also one about consent culture. There was also about the anatomy. So yeah, those were the 5 master classes.
And where did you hold these master classes?
They're all hosted online. It's a web campaign. So yeah, and we also had one about building intimacy with your partner after birth giving, because that's another thing. That's also something that we had created as part of the 5 master classes. So yeah.
One small suggestion is that,
Please.
I mean, you are working with survivors, right? Maybe very interesting to work with counselors themselves for their self-care, because they're going through vicarious trauma. And
So, ma'am, that's what I do in my clinic, and I started India's first perpetrator survivor space for men who have perpetrated sexual violence. 16 sessions for men to heal, and then also a second thing of therapists, community mental health for other therapists and doctors and psychiatrists, because we all condescend and judge each other about each other's practices, but there's not a lot of collaboration. So that's what I do at my clinic, which is why I collaborated with them for the.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I remember there's one article or a series of articles written on caregivers. And what is yours? Please come. What's your name? And which zone? Okay. I remember your article, so.
Hi, I'm Mahima Jain. I'm a journalist based in Bangalore. This is my second time winning the award, but first time attending, because the first one was during the pandemic. I read a series of articles on how we've looked, since Nirbhaya, we've asked for a lot of things from our governments and our judges and our justice system, but it's all been framed through a lens of criminal justice. We don't look at gender-based violence as a health issue. And through my reporting, I came across doctors and nurses and other healthcare professionals who said that they were witnessing, once they were trained to look for it, they were seeing gender-based violence everywhere. This was in Delhi, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka. And since 2014, we have a national health policy, and which says that gender-based violence needs to be treated as a main subject in your, public health system, but it's not been taken up, and there are only very few states which have kind of done this in a proper way. So when I was speaking to doctors who were trained, they said that they had probably missed so many cases over the decades because they had not looked for it. And once they started looking for it, they thought of themselves as detectives, because it's there in all medical departments. And they said they just didn't know what they were looking for until they knew it. So it's in orthopedics, ENT, gynecology, ophthalmology, everywhere. So the story was basically, the series of stories supported by Pulitzer Center, and the one I wrote for Scroll has won the award, was looking at how governments in Karnataka and Maharashtra are making this part of the public health system, and how survivors are given care without being discreetly, so that they don't have to disclose it to their family, which is what often they need before they're ready to go to the police. So that was a series of stories. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much. Anybody else who has worked on this topic?
I said I'm very happy you worked on this, because I was really, helped to institutionalize health sector response to gender-based violence in Maharashtra, and we've been working with the Karnataka now. 8 states have currently done it.
Thank you, Mahima, and congratulations once again.
Hospital? Okay.
The medical legal guidelines for survivors of sexual violence came out in 2014. And in spite of a lot of the advocacy with governments, it's only 8 state governments that are currently trying to use those protocols and guidelines for survivors of sexual violence. No, it hasn't. I agree.
Yeah, there's a lot that needs to be investigated, exposed, and only then we'll have some conversation happening about these issues. And I'm so glad that all of you are doing this. Anybody else who has worked on similar themes? Come. Something which is related to it or similar kind of a thing? Please introduce yourself.
आस्था सिंह के नाम से आर्टिकल होगा. एक्चुअली शी इज़ नॉट हेयर, तो वी आर हेयर टू रिसीव इट.
What's
नॉर्दर्न.
Yeah.
आस्था सिंह. रेडियो मेवात इज़ अ कम्युनिटी रेडियो जो कि मेवात हरियाणा में है. तो हमारा एक प्रोजेक्ट है हिंसा को नो. तो हिंसा को नो के थ्रू हम लोग जेंडर बेस्ड वायलेंस या घरेलू हिंसा उसकी जागरूकता फैलाते हैं. एंड वी पार्टनर विद डिफरेंट कम्युनिटी रेडियोज़ अक्रॉस 12 स्टेट्स एंड 23 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स इन इंडिया. एंड इस प्रोजेक्ट के थ्रू हमने देखा जो OSCs होते हैं या फिर सखी सेंटर होते हैं, उधर भी हमने विजिट करा है. एंड वी हैव नोटिस्ड काफ़ी सारे डिफरेंसेस. लाइक मैं उड़ीसा के सखी सेंटर में गई, वहाँ मैंने नोटिस करा कि जो इम्प्रूवमेंट है इन द काइंड ऑफ काउंसलर्स, मतलब दे हैव, जिस तरीके से वो सर्वाइवर्स के साथ इंटरैक्ट करते हैं, दैट इज़ वेरी डिफरेंट. एंड मैं बिहार में हो गया, जैसे कि यूपी में हो गया, वहाँ पे जो सखी सेंटर्स है, एम आई ऑडिबल? दे आर वेरी लाइक, वहाँ पे जो लेवल ऑफ वर्क है, जो काउंसलर्स की खुद का जो माइंडसेट है, जो मिसोजिनिस्टिक थॉट प्रोसेस है या पेट्रियार्कल थॉट प्रोसेस है, दैट इज़ वेरी डिफरेंट. यहाँ पे हमारा दिशा की कहानी पूरा एक सीरीज़ है जो कि हमने पब्लिश करा था थ्रू कम्युनिटी रेडियोस. हिमांशी.
So, those of you who don't know about community radios, so community radios जो सामुदायिक रेडियो होते हैं, हम उनके साथ काम करते हैं. Like लक्ष्मी told you. तो ये जो एक दिशा की कहानी है, एक पूरा 30 एपिसोड का एक सीरीज़ है. We were able to just share 1 episode for this award. तो ये जो 30 एपिसोड्स का कहानी है, that was based on the experiences we had when we went to the field, when we saw these stories कि ऐसा होता है. So the story is about a girl who is yet to born, but क्योंकि उसकी फैमिली है जिसको बेटा चाहिए, तो उसकी फैमिली में ये बातें चलती हैं कि ओके, अभी एक बेटी तो पैदा हो गई है और ये दूसरी दोबारा बेटी हो गई है, तो इसको हम लोग इसका अबॉर्शन करा देते हैं या इसको हम कहीं बाहर छोड़ के आ जाते हैं. तो द सीरीज़, द दिशा की कहानी इज़ अ सीरीज़ जहाँ पे ये दिखाया गया है कि किस तरीके से दिशा अपनी लाइफ के हर एक स्टेज में डिस्क्रिमिनेशन फेस करती है. वो अपनी फैमिली को कैसे समझाती है कि इवन इफ़ शी वांट्स टू गो टू स्कूल, तो उसको क्यों जाना चाहिए. इवन इफ़ शी वांट्स टू डू जॉब, तो उसको एक्सप्लेन करना पड़ता है कि उसके लिए क्यों इम्पोर्टेंट.
We have 70 people, so please be.
Wanted to add one more line. Through this Hinsa Ko No project, we have reached out to 3.5 lakh people through our narrowcasting and outreach activities on the ground. Thank you.
Aishwarya Parija? Yeah, you are the second time winner, right? Second or third time? Okay, you tell how it is to get the award a second time and what inspired you to continue writing on this
Thank you.
from a gender perspective.
Congratulations to all. I am Aishwarya
No,
from
it's
Odisha.
not. No, hold it closer to your mouth.
Congratulations to all. I am Aishwarya from Odisha. Actually, this is my second time award winning. फर्स्ट टाइम 2018 में मुझे मिला था लाडली मीडिया अवार्ड, और उस टाइम मुझे एक एड्स अटैक के महिला के ऊपर स्टोरी, सक्सेसफुल स्टोरी था. और उस टाइम जो स्टोरी है वो कि अनऑर्गेनाइज्ड वुमेन वर्कर जो कि सेम काम करते हैं जेंट्स लेबर के साथ सेम काम करते हैं, लेकिन सोशल एक्ट इशू है इसमें। कभी कभी उन लोगों ने सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट होते हैं उनके ऊपर, कोई एक्ट काम नहीं करता है, और वेजेस के इशू भी है उन लोगों के लिए। ये स्टोरी मैंने भुवनेश्वर के लेबर मार्केट के ऊपर किए थे। और दिस टाइम thank you Ladli Media Award, thank you Population Fast, thank you to all.
Thank you for continuing to write. Thanks
Thank
a
you,
lot. Anybody else who has written on women labor issues? Any other person who got an award for this? Okay. May I now invite Roki Buz Zaman. Is he there? Yogesh, you must be knowing. Has he come?
Is Rohibuz Zaman here? Tora Agarwal.
Anupama Chandrasekharan. Is Tora Agarwal there?
Hi, I'm Anupama Chandrasekharan. I'm based out of Chennai, and I am an audio producer. So my story was about the women in Lakshadweep. Lakshadweep actually has a matrilineal society, and they actually, I mean, the irony of the story was, of course, it has a matrilineal society. It is an Islamic society which is matrilineal. So for me, it was first of all a great education to learn about this itself. But again, sadly, you know, when you talk to the women and everything, you see things are changing as well, that the men are kind of, you know, wanting to change the things. And in case you don't know what a matrilineal society is, it's basically that if the husband marries into a family, the husband marries into the family, first of all, and he goes and stays with the wife's family. And property rights are also handed over from mother to daughter. So not from the mother to the son, or not from the father to the son, but from towards the daughter. The daughter gets the property rights. So what was also fascinating to see was that the domestic violence levels are, you know, when I actually look at the data, are fairly low, because one could correlate it even to property rights in some senses. It is one of the, you know, places, you know, union territories where women hold a lot of property. So having this matrilineal heritage actually kind of has a lot of repercussions in the society itself. But having said that, you know, some of the women I spoke to actually said that, you know, whatever happens in the end, you know, the husband does try to, you know, control a lot of what's going on in the family. So on paper, in terms of culture, yes, it exists, but somewhere, you know, something always ends up being in the favor of men, so that is kind of quite ironic. But personally for me, it was a big learning experience just to talk to these people. And of course, I did face trouble traveling to Lakshadweep. And so I had to meet these women and talk to them over the phone, or meet them in Kochi, which is where many of them actually take a ship to. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much. Tanishka Sodhi, is she there? Tanishka? Yeah, it's an interesting story about the discrimination faced by unmarried women. And there was another story, discrimination faced by trans women. What is that story? Please be ready to come and share your experience.
My name is Tanishka Sodhi. I'm with News Laundry. And the story focuses on how unmarried women in India are being denied an essential ultrasound, the transvaginal ultrasound, because it is assumed that if they are not married, then it's on patriarchal lines, in the sense that it's assumed that the hymen is not broken, so the ultrasound should not be done. And I spoke to 12 women across metro cities who sort of discussed how this led to so many issues because some of them went for years without getting a diagnosis done. It's an essential ultrasound that helps understand a lot of essential parts of the pelvic region and a lot of things. Sorry, just a second. So in a lot of cases, women had to spend years not being diagnosed because they were not able to get their medical diagnosis done. And in a lot of cases, even when gynecologists recommend this ultrasound, radiologists still refuse to do this. And their way of speaking about this is by asking, are you married, instead of directly having a conversation about the sexual activity of a woman. So that's the story.
Thank you so much. It's very, very important. And also there was an article on PCOS. Who has written that? And on trans women and their access to housing. Is it? Articles written on menstrual hygiene. Whoever has written, could you please stand up?
Anyone who's written an article on menstrual hygiene.
Articles are there. Please stand up when I ask you. I don't have to call you by name. Come. Ritu Sharma. Are you Ritu Sharma? Yeah, come. After she speaks, you can.
Hi, good evening all. Congratulations. Congratulations for your awards. Myself, Nitya Pandian. I am from Chennai. I used to work with the News Minute. I reported a story about the menstrual segregation houses in Tamil Nadu, how it thrives in urban and rural areas. This practice is called Muttuveedu practice, in which women who are on their periods will be segregated from their houses and they will be housed in a separate house in the village, which is out of the sight. They can't access to the roads, toilets and everything. They need to spend there 5 days or 6 days or 7 days. When women deliver babies, they were supposed to be there for 3 months. So already there are some stories reported about the practice that happen among the Dalit communities alone. But my story explored intermediate caste, how they are doing it, and how they use the fund from the government to construct such houses in the middle of the villages, and how they protect it. Wherever we go, wherever we find women to talk about it, they were saying we are following our traditions, we are doing for the safety of the women. We want to give some rest to the women who can't afford to take rest in their houses. But in practical, they were happen to eat outside that house, and there is no proper toilet facilities, there is no bedding personals and nothing. They just go there and they just wait there for 3 days and they return back to their houses. And we also explore how this practice prevailed in tribal areas, particularly PVTG communities in both Anamalai Tiger Reserve and Nilgiri Tiger, Mudumalai Tiger Reserve, and how they are suffering because of this menstrual segregation houses. In one community called Muduva, they basically live in Anamalai Tiger Reserve in the top ranges of the mountains. They can't go outside, and their Muttuveedus are literally inside the tiger reserve and inside the elephant corridors. So to avoid the bad wildlife human interactions, they just started to take oral contraceptives to avoid having periods, which resulted in having no children for among 30 to 35% in that community. So we all focused on all those things, and we also focused on how urban areas also following such kind of segregation, but inside their houses, how women are not allowed to enter their rooms and how they were made to sleep on the floor, and yeah, these things are I reported. Thank you.
I would love to listen to you, but the thing is we have very short time, so request all of you to be a little brief, right? Who is the other person? Come fast. Try to be brief, please.
All right. Hi, my name is Ritu, and I am currently working with People's Archive of Rural India, Pari, as an editor for the endangered languages. But my story was about the menstrual health and hygiene in Maharashtra, particularly Mumbai, and particularly the toilet in Dharavi. It was a story for Youth Ki Awaaz. It talked about the different policies of our state government and the efficiency with which they handle the menstrual health and hygiene in the state.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You were.
That's the reading for you to do.
Jashvita Dhage. Is she there? Oh, this is a very interesting article, mapping streets and footpaths for women-friendliness. Right? Am I correct? Yeah. That's a very interesting.
Hi, good evening everyone. My name is Jashvata Dhage and I won this award for my piece from the Western region. So in my article, I micro-mapped 2.3 kilometers between Borivali station and the metro station on Shimpoli Road, which is on the other side of the national park from where we are right now. So the whole idea behind micro-mapping this space was to think about planning from the gender lens. Often we keep lamenting and ranting that cities are not planned to be gender friendly. There is no gender equity in planning. There is no consideration given to people other than able-bodied men. So through my mapping, I found that there was a lot of money that was spent on infrastructure, but it turned out that the infrastructure wasn't actually people friendly. Forget like thinking women friendly, it wasn't even people friendly. So it gave me a lot to think about in terms of what it would mean for a woman to also loiter, because if it's not safe to actually normally walk, how will you even go around doing walking for the sake of nothing? Men tend to just walk out of the house without anything and they somehow get by with whatever is there. But women, disabled people, older people, also children need better designed, sensitive infrastructure, and that is something that I try to highlight through my piece.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. It's very interesting. Steffi Thaver. And this is an interesting story about organ donors. Most of the organ donors are women, but the recipients are all men.
Yeah. So I'm Steffi. I'm basically from Pune, and I write for the Times of India. So the story for which I won the award was that 4 out of 5 living organ donors are women, but 4 out of 5 living organ recipients are men. And this was a very stark difference, and for that I studied data for over 26 years, which was as per the government data. And this difference was only evident in living organ donors and recipients. And the difference was obvious because women are somewhere subconsciously, you can say, brainwashed or made to feel that they have to be the caretakers of the family. And if the man who is an alcoholic, abusive person needs a part of her liver, she has to donate it. She can't.
Hello?
Yeah. So I came across stories wherein the woman has donated a part of her liver to her abusive husband, and after he recovered, he started beating her again, and he started using, alcohol, abusing himself of alcohol. So these kind of stories came out through my article research when I was researching for this article. So I just tried to explore this one angle which was really shocking for me, and which we see prevalent across in our society from higher income groups to low income groups. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This is an issue I've been talking so much, whether it is kitchen designing or anything. it's very male dominated. In India, most women are around 5'3", 5'2", but their platforms are so high, the shelves are so high, and the whole designing of the house is also very male, from a male point of view, not so much from a female point of view. I'm very glad that you have done this study, because it's very important that it's not just about big things, but small things also matter in making places accessible to those who are marginalized. Organ donor, sorry. I am talking about, I got distracted because of that. Yeah. This is another issue which both Anuja and I are very concerned about, and that is conflation of abortion and child marriage. Like, the policies are very conflicting, and there is a lot that needs to be discussed about. And I call upon Sukrita Barua to come and speak. Sukrita is there? Sukrita? There's one more person who has written on this topic. Who is that? Please.
Thank you, People's First and the Ladli Media award team. I'm Ghasiram. I'm a development worker working in Action Aid Association as the National Child Protection Lead on child rights. I'm not a professional journalist like many of you. I usually write what I feel when I do this work, and I'm very focused on ending child marriage and adolescent empowerment now for last few years. And this is my second time in Ladli. The first award I got for an Odia article on the similar issues, on the similar kind of conflict that IPC 375 and the age of marriage and all these things. This time also, when Assam actually got the attention by arresting a lot of people because of the issues of child marriage, then whether this is actually a legal issues or child marriage kind of thing is actually more having something to do with socio-economic, cultural and other such things to do. And when we talk about also the act, is it only to just to arrest the people, or the accountability also lies within the administration to also respond? So when we are thinking about the system to be gender transformative, then this kind of response towards the community is actually whether it is helpful, or is it taking back the whole movement of adolescent empowerment on child marriage, ending child marriage. That was the point that I have tried to raise in an article in Down to Earth, and I extend all my thanks and gratitude to the Down to Earth team also. Thank you.
हेलो नमस्कार, मैं अनुज उड़ीसा से, मैं कनक न्यूज़ में स्पेशल कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंट हूँ। मेरी कहानी भी चाइल्ड मैरिज से रिलेटेड है। मेरी कहानी के दो किरदार थे, पूजा और अनीसा, जिसने शादी के मंडप से उड़न छू कर दिया। उनके दादी दादा बोलते थे कि शादी कर ले बेटी, शादी कर ले, हम मर जाएंगे, ऐसे बोलते थे। तो ऐसा हुआ कि उनकी उम्र करीबन 14 या 15 साल थी। दोनों ने अपने शादी के मंडप से, शादी के सब सजावट हो चुका था, लेकिन एक दिन पहले ही उड़न छू कर दिए। और वो बस उतने में ख़त्म नहीं हुआ था। वो जब वहाँ से निकले, उन्होंने अपने ही कम्युनिटी में एक ग्रुप बनाई, और धीरे 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 वो ग्रुप अभी सिर्फ भुवनेश्वर, उड़ीसा के भुवनेश्वर में नहीं, हर एक जगह, हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में एक छोटे छोटे क्लब बने हैं, बच्चों के क्लब। वो बच्चे खुद बनाते हैं, और कहीं भी अगर चाइल्ड मैरिज होता है तो उसके अगेंस्ट में वो कैंपेन करते हैं, अवेयरनेस करते हैं, 1098 को कॉल करते हैं। ये है पूजा और अनीशा की कहानी, और ये एक इंस्पायरिंग कैरेक्टर है जिनको मैंने अपने टीवी में हीरोइन के किरदार में रखा। शुक्रिया।
Care Workers Collective. I think somebody is standing up.
Hello.
हमें केस वर्कर्स कलेक्टिव के नाम से हमने एक प्रोजेक्ट बनाया है जिसका नाम है हिंसा की शब्दावली। हम थर्ड आई से जुड़े हैं जो कि निरंतर ट्रस्ट का एक प्रोजेक्ट है और हम थोड़ा बहुत इस प्रोजेक्ट के बारे में बताना चाहेंगे जिसके तहत ये एक आर्टिकल और पॉडकास्ट सीरीज़ को अवार्ड मिल रहा है। तो
मेरा नाम मीना है। हम थर्ड आई के साथ 2 साल से जुड़ के एक शब्दावली में काम किए हैं। शब्दावली है हम चुने हैं समझौता, और समझौता में काफ़ी इस तरीके के, माने जब शब्दावली चुन रहे थे तो काफ़ी शब्द आए, पर हम लोगों ने लिया समझौता कि महिलाओं की ज़िंदगी में, खासकर केस वर्कर की ज़िंदगी में समझौता कितना मायने रखता है। तो उसके बारे में फिर हम लोगों ने अलग अलग तरीके से लिखे हैं, क्योंकि हम बुंदेलखंड के हैं। बुंदेलखंड में महिला हिंसा बहुत भयानक है, फिर उन केसों में कितने भयानक भयानक समझौता होते हैं और उसका असर केस वर्कर की ज़िंदगी में कितना पड़ता है। तो उस तरीके से फिर हम लोग उसको देखते हैं।
मेरा नाम शोभा है और हम यूपी से, बांदा डिस्ट्रिक्ट से हैं। वैसे हम लोग को इतनी इंग्लिश नहीं आती है, आप लोग सब इंग्लिश में बोल रहे थे और हम हिंदी में ही बोलते हैं। तो ऐसे ही जब हम केस वर्कर तो हैं, लेकिन हम बहुत लोगों की स्टोरी लिखते हैं, लेकिन हमने सोचा कि अपनी स्टोरी क्यों ना लिखे। तो फिर हम लोगों ने भी अपनी अपनी समझौता को लेकर एक स्टोरी लिखी, और मैंने भी लिखी अनेकों कमरा को लेकर कि क्या मैंने अपनी लाइफ में क्या क्या मैंने समझौता किया है और आज मैं कहाँ हूँ। थैंक यू।
ये केस वर्कर्स कलेक्टिव और हिंसा की शब्दावली एक हमारी तरफ से प्रयास है कि हमारा जो मीडिया लैंडस्केप है उसमें जब हम जेंडर बेस्ड वायलेंस का मुद्दे पे बात करते हैं तो हम जैसे बहुत शहरी और अर्बन रिपोर्टिंग होता है कि लोग, रिसर्चर बड़े बड़े गांव में जाके, जर्नलिस्ट जो कि इम्पोर्टेंट कहानियां हैं, लेकिन हम लोगों को एक केस स्टडी बना देते हैं। तो हिंसा की शब्दावली एक ऐसा प्रयास है जिसमें हमने केस वर्कर्स के साथ 2 साल बहुत गहराई में जाके काम किया और केस वर्कर्स ने अपनी आवाज़ों और अपनी भाषा में वो चीज़ें लिखी। तो ये एक मीडिया लैंडस्केप में किस तरह ऐसी भी एक पॉसिबिलिटी है वो हम देखना चाहते हैं। थैंक यू।
Thank you so much. May I now ask Saral Das to...
बिकॉज हमने अभी कुछ कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव गाइडलाइंस निकाल रहे हैं फॉर केस मैनेजमेंट ऑन जेंडर बेस्ड वायलेंस। तो अगर आपका केस वर्कर्स कलेक्टिव है, हम आपके साथ इसको साझा करना चाहेंगे ताकि आप इसको और आगे बढ़ा सकें।
So you have nice opportunity now. Saral Das.
Thank you, Ladli Media Award, and congratulations to all of you. I am Saral Das. I am not a journalist. I was a banker. I took voluntary retirement as the AGM of NABARD. And then I started writing columns in newspapers from agriculture to international relationship, anything and everything. And this was just one of the topics I wrote based on a real story. My story was, it was written in Odia, and my story's name was Bhalo Chua, Kharab Chua. If it gets translated into English, it is good touch and bad touch, which appears to be very, very run-of-the-mill kind of thing if it gets translated. But it is not so when it remains in that language, because in regional languages, these things are never discussed. These are taboos. So my point was not just discussing about good touch and bad touch. That was not the intention. The intention was how society accepts it. There was a specific incident for which I wrote it. A film producer in public touched a women journalist inappropriately. And it became a very big issue in the state. Then finally, an FIR was lost and he was inside jail. But The point was that there were two sections in the society. Some supported the producers and some opposed it. And supporting was for that they were known to each other, so it's okay. But those who opposed, the ground was different. They told how working women journalists or working women will feel safe if they work under these type of things. But nobody talked about the real issue of the women touching itself. They it was my duty. Then I'm a regular columnist in Sambad, which is the largest Odia circulated Odia Delhi. And my column is followed widely. So I took it as a challenge that it will be my point to make people aware about the entire issue altogether in my language. So it generated lot of, I should say the impact was huge. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dada.
It is about the impact it has on the survivor and not what was the intent of the harasser. Huh?
Mohammed Abu Bakr. It's about women, disability, and sports.
Hello everyone, my name is Mohammed Abu Bakr. I'm a journalist based in Kashmir. So actually, I don't think it's working. My story is on women playing basketball. Actually, the story, I was following on this story for almost 2 years. When I was in university, I was following this story, and when I covered the story, my only aim was to show the people who think that their disabilities, that they cannot do anything. This story is for the people who think that their disability is a stigma. And they can see this story and come forward and touch the skies. I want to tell them that sky is the only limit. They can achieve everything. That doesn't mean their one or two organs is working. That doesn't mean they are disabled. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohan Bhai. Sneha Richarya.
Yeah. Amir Khan and Henna Ellis Peterson. Ankita Dhar Karmakar. This is again a story about women in spaces, which
Yes.
is very interesting.
Yes, this is working, right? Hi. Okay. All right. Thank you to Population First and all of you for recognizing my work. This story I wrote for Behan Box. I used to work there. Now I'm an independent journalist. And as Shada ma'am has already noted, it is a story about gender segregated spaces and whether they reinforce essentialist gender norms, or should there be a need for such spaces. So the case study that I looked here was this park called the Parda Bagh or the Zanana Bagh, which is present in Old Delhi, and it's a women-only park. So I went there and I spoke to the women who congregated there, who spent their time there, and what such spaces meant for them. And through the story, I explored the intersections of what does it mean to make public spaces accessible for women. Should it be gender segregated, or should there be inclusive spaces instead for women and other gender diverse people? So that's about it. Thank you.
Uzmi Akhtar. Lambari women and their, art
Hi.
and how it is fading away and its impact.
Right. Hi, my name is Usmi. I'm a journalist with a news agency called PTI. So the story was very accidental. I had gone to Bangalore to cover the G20, and it so happened that the Prime Minister felicitated the Lambani women. And I mean, it was a great gesture, but something felt wrong. So I followed up with them, and then I found that they are struggling at so many levels, right from climate change, which is something people don't link with it, but it is really impacting them. And of course, I think many of the traditional art forms are also struggling from the fact that the younger generation are not agreeing to take it up. So that was another issue. So yes, in summary, that was the story about. And about the impact, it was acknowledged by the Culture Ministry, who started giving them, joining their collaborations with the self-help groups, so that the middleman doesn't get as much cut as they used to. So it's something that's happening. It's in progress, but yeah, that's a start. So thank
You are
you.
a second-time winner, right?
Third.
Third time. So you tell me how it feels to receive it 3 times.
कपिल शर्मा पूछता है ना आज शो पे लोगों को, आपको कभी लगा था आपको तीसरी बार लाडली अवार्ड मीडिया मिलेगा, तो आपको क्या लगता है?
Yeah, you are the journalist. You should tell.
बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. It feels like I'm really honored, and I don't know. Thank you.
Okay, then we have Sudarshana Chakrabarti.
सुदेशना
Sudarshana. It's once again about women wrestlers. Yeah?
Congratulations to all the winners, and thank you Population First for this award. My feature was actually about the women wrestlers protesting on the road, and I was writing a series of articles, feature articles on that, but the day when our new Parliament House was inaugurated, that was the day when they were also protesting on the road, and then they were manhandled by the police and the state. So I drew a connection between how it was an attack by the Manuvadi and patriarchal society, the state, on women who are protesting out there, and how it doesn't even pay the proper respect or honor to the President of India, as because she is a woman and she is from a different cultural background. So that is what I was trying to do, and I spoke to the women from the farmers' protests was there, supporting them. I spoke to trade union leaders for this story, and the impact was that I don't know why or how many women from different sectors, like mostly who are performers, they somehow connected with the story, because somehow they connected with the women wrestlers, and how they face all this kind of patriarchal abuses and harassment in their sectors also. So that was the story.
Thank you.
And this is great how it felt.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Where Arun Kumar,
Arun Kumar here.
he has written about digital divide. Yeah.
हेलो, थैंक यू एवरीवन. सबसे पहले जितने विनर्स हैं उनका बहुत बहुत आभार, बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं सारे साथियों को. ये स्टोरी थी एक्चुअली कोरोना के बाद तमाम चीज़ें ऐसी आई कि जिसमें इकनॉमी बहुत गड़बड़ हुई, लेकिन उस इकनॉमी को महिलाओं ने संभाला. तो ये चीज़ दिमाग में आई धीरे धीरे कि अगर महिलाएं मतलब घर को संभालती हैं, घर की पूरी इकनॉमी को संभालती हैं, घर में जब सिलेंडर ख़त्म हो जाता है तो उनके हस्बैंड जो है उन्हीं से पैसे मांग के सिलेंडर लेते हैं. मतलब महीने के लास्ट में जब भी दिक्कत होती है तो अपनी वाइफ से, अपनी मदर से ही पैसा मांगते हैं हम लोग खुद ही यही मतलब रहता है. तो ये चीज़ वहीं से जनरेट हुई कि जब महिलाएं घर को संभाल सकती हैं तो डिजिटल इकनॉमी उस समय देखा जब कोरोना आया, कोरोना के बाद डिजिटल इकनॉमी काफ़ी अच्छी ग्रो हुई. इधर मोदी का मिशन भी चल रहा था, मोदी जी का, तो उसमें काफ़ी ग्रो हुआ. तो वो चीज़ ये आई कि महिलाओं की ग्रोथ जो है करीब 30% से ऊपर गई थी डिजिटल इकनॉमी में, क्योंकि वो इंटरनेट बहुत ज़्यादा इस्तेमाल नहीं करती थी, मोबाइल उनके हाथ में नहीं रहता था. लेकिन कोरोना के दौरान जो है ना मोबाइल उनको मिला, उनके बच्चों को मिला, तो थोड़ा मौका उनको मिला, तो उन्होंने डिजिटल इकनॉमी को काफ़ी बूम किया. मतलब घर से चीज़ों को मंगाया या घर से अपना कारोबार शुरू किया, तमाम चीज़ें. तो वो चीज़ वो दिमाग में आई. फिर उसके बाद ये चीज़ें हुई तो उसमें ये चीज़ आई कि अगर उनके हाथ में मोबाइल अगर आ जाए तो बहुत कुछ कर सकती हैं, नो डाउट. है ना। तो वहीं से स्टोरी जनरेट हुई थी। तो एक रिपोर्ट फिर मैंने सर्च किया तो उसमें देखा कि अगर उनके हाथ में मोबाइल आ जाता है तो करीब $7 अरब की इकोनॉमी और डिजिटल इकोनॉमी को बूम कर सकती हैं। तो ये चीज़ वहीं से आई। इसके पहले भी पिछली बार भी अवार्ड था मेरे पास। तो उसमें मैंने ये दिखाया था घर में जो महिलाएं काम करती हैं उनके काम की कोई वैल्यू नहीं रहती है। मतलब झाड़ू पोछा बर्तन घर संभालती हैं, उसकी कोई अहमियत नहीं, मतलब उसकी कोई कॉस्ट भी नहीं है। तो अगर उस कॉस्ट को मतलब हम अगर वैल्यूएट भी करें कम से कम,
थोड़ा कम कर।
अच्छा ओके। तो ये स्टोरी का आइडिया था। बाकी ऑल द बेस्ट, थैंक यू।
Yep. We'll be publishing all the award-winning articles into a book. We'll be sharing the book, then you can read all the books, so there's no issue. And now may I call Varsha Prakash. It's about Dalit women getting married, intercaste marriage.
Intercaste love relationship.
जी.
नमस्ते सभी को और आभार.
Closer, we are not.
That's fine.
Hold it close.
मेरा नाम वर्षा प्रकाश है. मैं एक इंडिपेंडेंट राइटर और एकेडमिक ट्रांसलेटर हूँ. ज़्यादातर अंग्रेज़ी से हिंदी में ट्रांसलेट करती हूँ. फ़िलहाल मैं अपनी लेखनी फेमिनिज्म इन इंडिया के हिंदी प्लेटफॉर्म के साथ दर्ज कर रही हूँ. जिस लेखनी के लिए मुझे लाडली मीडिया अवार्ड से नवाजा गया है या जाएगा वो है अंतरजातीय प्रेम संबंधों में जातिवाद से गुजरती दलित महिलाओं के अनुभव. यह विषय उन दलित महिलाओं के अनुभवों को कवर करता है, सम्मिलित करता है जो इंटरकास्ट लव रिलेशनशिप में किसी अपर कास्ट मर्द के साथ या आदमी के साथ प्रेम में पड़ती हैं और फिर जातिवाद से जुड़े तथ्यों का जो है खुलासा करती हैं हमारे सामने. फ़िलहाल जी. और जैसे कि ये महिलाएं जातिवाद पर जो आधारित हमारा सोशल स्ट्रक्चर है, जो सोशल हायरार्की है, उसको चुनौती देती हैं. पर अनफॉर्चुनेटली दुर्भाग्य से अपर कास्ट पुरुष के माध्यम से या उसके द्वारा एक इंटरकास्ट लव रिलेशनशिप में रहते हुए वो जाति से जुड़ा प्रश्न या कास्टिज़म जैसा व्यवहार जो वो महसूस करती हैं तो वो फिर से उसी सोशल स्ट्रक्चर में और सोशल हायरार्की में वापस आ जाती हैं. ये महिलाएं, ये दलित महिलाएं जो अपर क्लास आदमी के साथ प्रेम में पड़ती हैं, ये चैम्पियन हैं जो सोशल हायरार्की को चुनौती देती हैं. पर अनफॉर्चुनेटली वो इस सम्मान की भी हकदार नहीं होती, वो इस गरिमा की भी हकदार नहीं होती. तो मैंने ये बातें कवर की हैं.
Thank you so much. We need more stories which are, like this, talking about different kinds of people. We are overshooting the time, so they have started their practice. Manish Mishra.
मेरा नाम वर्षा गोडापे है. मैं महाराष्ट्र चंद्रपुर से आती हूँ और पिछले 2 साल से महाराष्ट्र में गढ़चिरोली चंद्रपुर जिले से बाई मानुस मीडिया रिसर्च फाउंडेशन के माध्यम से पत्रकारिता कर रही हूँ. पिछले 1 साल से बाई मानुस और असर के साथ मिलके क्लाइमेट चेंज एंड जेंडर इक्वालिटी को लेके हम हमारे हिस्से में काम कर रहे थे. इसी के माध्यम से जो क्लाइमेट चेंज हो रहा है तो मनुष्य के ऊपर विविध प्रकार के परिणाम हो रहे हैं. उसी में से हम क्या कहते हैं,
होल्ड इट क्लोज. नहीं पड़ता यहाँ पर ऐसा. वर्षा.
तो क्लाइमेट चेंज के माध्यम से हम लोग क्लाइमेट चेंज और जेंडर इक्वालिटी के माध्यम से जो महिलाओं के ऊपर जो क्या कहते हैं उसे असमानता दिखाई दे रही है ग्राउंड पे, तो उसी के वो क्या कहते हैं स्टोरी लिखी है जो मराठी में लिखी हुई है.
Closer, Varsha. People are not able to hear. मैं जैसे पकड़ी हूँ ऐसे पकड़ो.
मराठी में लिखी हुई है स्टोरी जो मराठी में स्टोरी लिखी हुई है. और ये जो स्टोरी है क्लाइमेट जो क्या प्रजनन क्षमता के जो प्रजनन क्षमता पर जो परिणाम हो रहा है उसको लेके ये स्टोरी लिखी हुई है। इसे आप बस धन्यवाद।
I hope I have covered everybody. If I have missed out anybody, please come and talk. Yeah, please come. Oh, Roli Srivastava, you are also second or third time
या
winner?
सेकंड या
Okay.
तो वर्षा ने जो कहा इसलिए मुझे लगा यहाँ आना ज़रूरी है क्योंकि मेरी भी स्टोरी क्लाइमेट और जेंडर की ही है. So I am a climate journalist and the story that one has won the award appeared in the Thomson Reuters Foundation's media platform called Context.news. It looked at the impact of climate change on women, जो आपने भी कहा climate change का जो women पर unequal impact होता है. But at the same time it looked at a solution that how there is a natural farming project in Chevaturu village in Andhra Pradesh and how women have emerged as the climate superheroes because they are kind of taking forward natural farming processes and all of that. But at the same time, what are the challenges? As in, it's not a puff piece which celebrates a solution. It looks at that women are shouldering the burden of climate mitigation on their farms, but which also means that they are burdened with that job. So women are the key farm managers in agriculture in India, and they are suffering the impact of climate change, and now they are also actively involved in climate mitigation. So while there is a solution, but it has its limitations, so that was my story.
Thank you so much. Who else is there who has to, yeah, quickly, otherwise you'll be lost.
Hi, my name is Zafar Iqbal. I represent Mojo Story. Basically, I've done a series of documentaries from Kashmir on the youth and youngsters after Article 370 was revoked. The first documentary dealt with the youngsters who wanted to showcase their talent and aspiration by way of rap. And it's not only boys, but girls also. A few years back, there was a rock band, all-girl rock band in Kashmir, which was banned. But now things had changed, and actually they're coming forward. And then there was the second documentary about startups, the girls and boys who were trying to break those stereotypes. And the third, of course, on transgenders and their rights in a society where they don't have a single graveyard where transgenders can actually be buried, and the other problems they face. So it was all these documentaries clubbed together that's won this award.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
मैं शैलेश नायक मिड डे मुंबई से हूँ. ये लगातार तीसरी दफ़ा मुझे लाडली मीडिया अवार्ड मिल रहा है और ये इस साल माई सेल्फ शैलेश नायक मिड डे मुंबई से हूँ. मैं जर्नलिस्ट हूँ. नहीं आपकी बात सही है. मैं इस साल एंट्री नहीं भेजने वाला था, लेकिन मेरी डॉटर ने मेरे को बोला कि डैडी आप ये जो फीचर आपने बनाया है वो आप भेजो, डेफिनेटली वो सिलेक्ट होगा. और वैसे या सो आई डेडिकेट माय स्टोरी या
Okay, come. She's been getting up many times. 1 minute.
Hello everyone, this is Seema from Dehradun. I wrote a story. I basically a freelance journalist, and मैंने जो अपनी story लिखी है, it is on how culture is affecting the women's. So देहरादून के पास में एक जगह है छोटी सी, that is चक्राता. वहाँ पे एक ट्राइब है जौनसारी. द्रौपदी हमारे यहाँ बहुत पहले जा चुकी हैं, लेकिन वहाँ पे द्रौपदी अभी भी हैं. दैट इज़ वाई मेरी जो स्टोरी है उसका टाइटल था लाखा मंडल की द्रौपदियाँ. वहाँ पे जगह है लाखा मंडल, एंशियंट साइट भी है एक्चुअली. वो द्रौपदी से यहाँ पे मीनिंग ये है कि लेडी की बहुत सारे हस्बैंड्स होते हैं. एक से शादी होती है एंड वो बाकी जितने भी ब्रदर्स होते हैं उनकी ऑटोमेटिकली वाइफ जो होती है वो बन जाती है. व्हेन आई टॉक टू दी पर्सन्स जो इस कम्युनिटी के हेड हैं, उनसे जब मैंने बात की, उन्होंने कहा कि इसमें खराबी कोई नहीं है, इट इज़ आवर ट्रेडिशन, हमारा कल्चर है, और द्रौपदी का आप सब इतना सम्मान करते हैं, सब कुछ करते हैं, तो फिर हमारे यहाँ ये चल रहा है, तो व्हाट इज़ रॉन्ग इन दैट, उसमें गलत क्या है. लेकिन जो वुमेन हैं जो इस चीज़ को फेस कर रही हैं, अगर आप उनसे जाकर के बात करते हैं, उनकी कंडीशन को देखते हैं, दैन इट इज़ वेरी पैथेटिक. एंड सेकेंड थिंग, जो इससे चिल्ड्रंस होते हैं, they are also facing a lot of mental trauma and very depressing kind of situation that is seeing in that community, and still the thing is prevalent in this society or in this community. So I have highlighted this story or this issue in my article. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
बेसिकली गवर्नमेंट की पहल इसलिए होती है, गवर्नमेंट चाहती भी है इस पर करना, बट द थिंग इज़ कि जहाँ पे कल्चर का मामला आता है, जहाँ पे रिलीजन से जुड़े हुए कुछ इश्यूज़ का मामला आता है, समटाइम्स गवर्नमेंट बहुत ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं कर पाती है, बिकॉज अंडर आर्टिकल 25 इट इज़ द राइट टू रिलीजन विच इज़ द फंडामेंटल राइट ऑफ आवर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन दैट इज़ मेंशन देयर. सो कई बार तो जो कम्युनिटी है वो भी नहीं जाती और वो बात भी नहीं करती हैं, लेडीज़ भी बात नहीं करती हैं. एंड मुझे भी बहुत डिफ़िकल्टी हुई थी, मुझे भी शायद ये स्टोरी पता नहीं चलती. इन माई ऑफिस वन ऑफ द पर्सन जो था वो उसकी फैमिली में ऐसा हुआ था एंड वो बच्चा था वहाँ का, इसलिए एक बार उससे जब बात हुई तो मेरे को ये स्टोरी पता चल गई, तो फिर मैंने उस पर लिखने का कोशिश की और मैंने लिखा. But still it is prevalent in that society. I don't know when it will remove. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Very interesting.
नमस्कार. मुझे इस बार 2 लाडली मिले हैं, एक जूरी और एक लास्ट टाइम अप्रिशिएशन जूरी मिला था. तो मेरा जो आर्टिकल था वो टेक्नोलॉजी कैसे जेंडर बेस्ड वायलेंस का एक तरीका बन रही है. तो डीफेक हमारे जो एक्ट्रेस हैं उनके वायरल हुए थे, उसके बाद उस पर मैंने एक पीस लिखा था और ये इंसिडेंट लगातार हुए हैं. इसमें डेटा हमने इंक्लूड किया है, साथ में जो मेजर पॉइंट हमने हाईलाइट किया था वो ये था कि जब इस टॉपिक को मीडिया भी रेज कर रहा था तो वो उन्हीं पिक्चर्स का यूज़ कर रहा था. तो मीडिया कवरेज में भी वो सेंसिटिविटी नहीं है और टेक्नोलॉजी हमारी लाइफ इजी बना रही है, बट जब हम इसको जेंडर के एंगल से देखेंगे तो ये वायलेंस का एक तरीका बन रहा है. एंड सेकंड, जेंडर गैप इन स्लीप. सोने में भी औरतों को कितना लैंगिक भेदभाव का सामना करना पड़ता है. तो मेरा जो दूसरा आर्टिकल सेलेक्ट हुआ है वो ये है. थैंक यू.
Hi, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's been a decade, but since, even though the stage fear is not leaving me alone. So I'm Subhagunam. I work with BBC News Tamil. It's been an honor to be with all these legends. I've been hearing a lot of stories. Even though I couldn't understand Hindi, I can get that there are many wonderful stories here. Even though I believe that if there is a support with an English translation, that would be helpful for people like us from a non-Hindi background. Because I believe that sensitivity is everything we talk about, and diversity is important in that. Thank you very much. And coming to the story I worked on and I got an award, I worked on a story on how rural same-sex relationships are facing many challenges compared to the urban communities, and how rural LGBTQ communities are facing many struggles when they are coming out. With a case study from a rural gay couple, I have tried to create a picture on what kind of challenges rural gay communities are facing and how they are overcoming that with their willpower, and what do the community, LGBT community, should work on to bring a more limelight into the rural communities and more awareness. Thank you.
So I'm Vishakha Nikam. I'm working with BBC Marathi right now. I currently am staying in Delhi. So my story was about two sisters who are like farming near the forest area. जब बात खेती की आती है तब ऐसा लगता है कि इसमें बहुत मेहनत है और मेहनत सिर्फ पुरुष कर सकते हैं और वो दो लड़कियां रोज़ रात रात भर खेत में रह के खेत को पानी देती है या फिर दिन भर वो काम करती है. अगेन लेबर इश्यूज़ है. उन दोनों ने शादी नहीं की है इसलिए सोसाइटी उनकी तरफ गलत नज़र से देखती है. वो सब चैलेंजेस को फेस करते हुए दे आर स्टिल फार्मिंग एंड यस अवार्ड्स मिलते हैं उनको बट उनके बारे में बातें होती नहीं है और मुझे लगा कि बीबीसी इज़ द बेस्ट प्लेटफॉर्म जहाँ पे मैं उनकी कहानी लोगों तक पहुँचा पाऊँगी. So, yes.
अमरावती की है ना कहानी.
Hi, I'm Ankita Anand. I could not miss the chance to speak because my partner has come from Rajasthan to record me. Thank you, Nachiket. My story is on how the lack of sex education impacts Indian society. Quick example, I spoke to a German educator who teaches at-risk children in Varanasi, and she told me that after she got married, the Indian women teachers who work with her came to console her. And she was shocked, and the Indian women said that you must be in a lot of pain because you've had sex after marriage. And this person said that, no, I'm absolutely fine, and it doesn't have to be that you will be in so much pain after sex. And the women were shocked, and they finally concluded that because she's a white woman, her body must be different, because how can you be an Indian woman and not be in pain or not have faced violence after sex? So that's the level of sex education that I found while working on this story. And I would like to quickly thank the Gender Beat, which is the global community of gender journalists, because they initiated a collaboration across different countries. And I also wrote on India as part of that. And thanks to my first publisher, Unbiased the News, and then to the local publisher, News Sense and News Kashmir, who also published the story here. Thank you so much, Ladli.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, you're there?
வணக்கம் சென்னையிலேருந்து வரேன் நான் என் பேர் நிவேதிதா லூயிஸ் I'm not just a journalist, I'm also a spearheader of a movement called Her Stories. So in Tamil Nadu, just like how Zuban is working in the Hindi belt, I'm trying to, I'm trying to nurture a movement where women can come out and write. And as you all know, feminists, we are the best allies of the queer community. So this award is now given to me for an article on the queer community, especially during the COVID season. During the lockdown season, there's been a lot of queer people who came out. So what aided this coming out, what contemplation they had within themselves, what made them come out of their shells, and how they survived the lockdown period, and what they did after the lockdown period. So based on two people, Agni Pradeep and Marakka, both of them are now working. Marakka is working in a school as a teacher, and Agni Pradeep is working in an IT company. So how they found the calling of their lives and how they settled in their lives and what they are trying to do to promote the queer community together. If you say Marakka, she has started a Chennai queer library for like-minded people, especially from the queer community, to come in and read. We do have regular conversations over social media, especially on Facebook and on Zoom. We have Her Stories conversations every weekend on Saturdays. I was, in fact, awarded a jury appreciation in 2021 during the lockdown for Her Stories conversations, which we undertook with women from the resettlement areas and the problems that they face. So basically, I'm trying to bridge the gap between women who live in a very urban household with women from the different areas, especially semi-urban areas, semi-rural areas. And I think the unifying factor that we women have together is simple. It's a very simple thread. It is feminism, which we call humanity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, one more person. इतना देर से आप तो पहले आना चाहिए.
सभी को नमस्कार. मेरा नाम बृहस्पति है और मैं दिल्ली प्रेस के लिए लिखता हूँ. मेरी जो स्टोरी है
You are second or third time winner.
सेकंड है.
हाँ, yeah.
मेरी स्टोरी जो है वो उसका नाम है हिना खातून अपने दम पर बनी दमदार खिलाड़ी. और ये लड़के की चाह में उपजी एक कहानी है जिसमें हिना की माँ को लगातार 7 बच्चियाँ होती हैं और उसके बाप उसकी माँ को तलाक दे देते हैं. उसके बाद हिना अपनी 7 बच्चियों को लेकर के सड़क पर आ जाती है और बारिश की रातें जो है पेट्रोल पंप के शेड के नीचे बीतती है. और इन्हीं हालातों के बीच में हिना बड़ी होती है, पैदल चल के वो खेलने जाती है, सीखती है और वहाँ तक कि वो नेशनल लेवल पर कई उसने प्राइज़ जीते और नेशनल लेवल के हैंडबॉल की खिलाड़ी बनी। और उसकी सफलता की जो कहानी है, जब मैंने लिखना शुरू किया था तो मेरी आंखों में भी आंसू आ गए थे जिस तरह से उसने अपनी कहानी को बयां किया था। और आज के डेट में वो उत्तर प्रदेश गवर्नमेंट के साथ मिल करके कोच के रूप में काम कर रही है। तो बहुत ही प्रेरणादायक कहानी रही है और निश्चित तौर पर ऐसी कहानियाँ बाहर आनी चाहिए। थैंक यू मैम।
Thank you so much. Now, may I request Dolly to say a few words?
मैं
She's our national coordinator. She's been supporting the Ladli Media Awards from
कई
the time
सालों
we
से।
started the awards. So, yeah.
Should I speak in English or Hindi? English. Okay, English. I am very impressed with the level of communication that all these young women have brought and put forward. And the men. I don't exclude the men either. But it's been wonderful to listen to all of that. And very confident, very well spoken, very smart, well dressed. Those things are very important to me, so I do pay a lot of attention to that. But my God, the knowledge that you have, and it's so wonderful to see where the woman has got to today. It's, the future is in our hands. I used to fight for it when I was much, much younger, but my God, look where we've got to today. And these men are left behind. But it's fantastic. I am really very happy to see such a lot of people and to see the kind of work that is being done. And I hope that you all will continue to support the Ladli movement and the women and write about these things. So thank you very much for being here.
Sunita, please say a few words.
You know, many of you know that I have been, like, from the tender age of 14, 15, I've been in the entertainment industry. And for me to express myself as a girl, as a woman, as a daughter, as a mother, has been what I do. I do it with music. But what is absolutely beautiful about what I've been doing is I've only been expressing how I feel about myself in that moment. And what has happened is people who have heard the music are feeling like that about themselves just by listening to it. Now, I'm not saying this to, to promote myself in any way. Mind you, I'm saying this because each and every one of you is doing this in your own way. It is not easy. You are writing. It's very different to come out here and speak about what you're writing, to speak about the conviction that you have. And there might have been a little bit of nervousness or whatever in the beginning, but I've noticed that with all the different diversity of accents, of dress, of language, everybody is basically saying the same thing. We are learning to respect ourselves, and we are learning to spread awareness about what is very, very wrong with our society. There are many, many things that are going on that are simply unacceptable. And a lot of people are witnessing it, not doing anything about it. But the people in this room are doing something about it. And hats off to each and every one of you. God bless you.
Congratulations to each one of you. I know so many of you, and it seems so wonderful to see all of you being given the Ladli Award. Well, I must say that every single story, whether it's a story on politics, a story on environment, a story on ghettoization, or a story on even a woman crossing a road being run over by a truck, has a gender perspective. And I'm so happy to see how each one of you have looked at that gender angle and integrated gender in your stories. So a very big congratulations. I hope, and I sincerely hope, We've seen so many people who've received the award the second and the third time, that you continue to view every story from a gender lens, use a gender perspective in analyzing the stories, and be part of the Ladli movement going forward. Once again, hearty congratulations to each of you.
Yeah. You want to say something? No, no. Thank you so much, and I request all of you to be happy and celebrate your achievement, and encourage your colleagues, your friends, your editors and others to promote gender sensitivity in writing. That is very, very important. And I hope next time we get more entries and from different places, languages, and on different topics. So please support us by spreading the word, encouraging others to write from a gender perspective. And thank you so much for being here, and it's lovely seeing you all.